Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about how to create a photo shoot concept and how to make them submission worthy and how to plan them from start to finish. So remember that today's training mostly applies to editorial and artistic style shoots, not typically like e-com or commercial type shoots. And if you don't know the difference between those, go back and look for the training about intro to modeling or modeling basics or types of modeling or modeling paths, anything like that. And you can find the definitions of those. So we're going to be talking about this from start to finish, like I said, and I'm really excited. This is a topic I don't think I've covered before, or I may have covered like here and there, like within other trainings. But here is really today we're going to go really into depth on it. So let's talk about the basics of creating a photo shoot concept. These are all things we'll talk about today and go into more detail in the next few slides. So first off, you need an idea or some inspiration, brainstorming, storytelling, wardrobe, hair and makeup, location, and posing. These are all kind of key ingredients into creating a photo shoot concept that you definitely need to consider and take time to learn and think about. So what makes a good concept anyways, right? I hear this a lot when people are planning photo shoots with me. I have this idea, but I'm not sure if it's really a good photo shoot concept or if it's a good idea. And you need to know that concepts are never inherently good or bad, okay? Because it's art, it's subjective, right? But there are concepts that can fail if you don't consider a few things. So some key things to consider are storytelling. You need to plan, correctly and thoroughly, and you need to be able to execute it according to plan. So I'm trying to get my notes to scroll, but they won't. That's okay. Okay, so storytelling. Let's talk about storytelling. What kind of story do you want to tell in your concept? Okay, what kind of emotions do you want to convey? These are things to start thinking about when planning your next photo shoot concept, right? And we'll get into what storytelling is in a few slides here. But those are some things to start thinking about. When it comes to planning, you need to be able to plan properly and thoroughly so that everything goes, smoothly and we create the vision that you want to create. So making sure that you're thinking about all the little details that go into the coughing, that go into executing your photo shoot and things like hair, makeup, wardrobe, posing, things like that, which we'll get into, and then execution, things that you need to do at the actual photo shoot. If you have a concept and, you can plan it to the nines and everything like that, but if you're not able to actually sit there and execute it in the end, your concept will fail. If you're not able to plan it thoroughly and properly, your concept will fail. And if you're not able to convey the story that you want to convey, your concept will fail. But that doesn't make the concept good or bad. So just remember that when you're thinking about photo shoot concepts, that there's no bad or good photo shoot concept. It's all about how you plan it and execute it. All right, here are some resources to use for concept planning, which we'll get into, and I have some examples. Sorry, I feel like I always need to burp or hiccup or something right when I start recording these. Like, I don't understand. So I love Pinterest and Instagram for like gathering inspiration and finding inspiration, things like that. And I love Milanote and Canva to actually create mood boards and create a space where I can put all of my thoughts and all of my planning details and everything like that. So I really recommend these resources for photo shoot planning. Okay, so let's start with, the first step, which is finding an idea or inspiration, okay? I think that this is the step that I struggle with the most. I think this is the step that almost everyone struggles with the most, is just like finding an idea or getting inspiration or finding that concept. But I want you to know that you can find inspiration from all around you. It doesn't have to just be, going on Pinterest and looking up concepts, okay? You can find inspiration from colors, from color schemes, from seasons. You can find inspiration from a makeup look you saw, Pinterest, Instagram, like I talked about, editorials in magazines, or Googling, editorial ideas, or books, stories, myths, anything like that. Just looking all around you, just even looking at my little thumbnail of my video right now. I got a nice, let me go this way, a blue chair with the zebra. If you were to take me out, there you go. You can find inspiration from something like that. So you can find inspiration from all around you. And I want to kind of go through some of these photos I have on the left and how I came up with these concepts, kind of from start to finish, so that you can see where I drew inspiration from. I try to pick photos where I drew inspiration from all different things, okay? So let's start with the top left one, which is, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it's up here, top left, with the 3 models. This photo shoot, I did a submission for a magazine, and it's titled Barren Beauty. It was inspired by Greek goddesses and wanting to portray them in the fall time, if that makes sense. So my first concept idea was Greek goddesses in the fall. Okay, so that's where my thought process came from. So I knew I wanted to have about 3 models for this shoot, so I started researching different Greek goddesses. And I really loved, for the fall time, I really loved Aphrodite, Demeter, and Gaia, which is Mother Earth. Okay, so Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty. Demeter is, I think, goddess of the harvest or something like that. And then Mother Earth. And those are the ones that I that I decided on. So I decided, okay, I'm going to cast each girl as one of the goddesses. So starting on the left with Grace in the purple dress, she was Aphrodite. So I researched Aphrodite and saw some of the symbols. Okay, let me check my phone. It's going crazy. Make sure there's not an emergency. Okay, no emergency. Okay, so I started with looking up symbols and colors and everything like that that represent Aphrodite. Okay, so pinks, purples, whites, colors like that, like a pearl color, things like that. I know like a mirror was one of her symbols, a seashell was one of her symbols, rose is one of her symbols. So those are all things that I wanted to incorporate into the shoot because I was drawing inspiration from Aphrodite herself, right? So I gave her a pinkish purple dress, I gave her some roses, I gave her an abalone shell, and a mirror. Then next in the middle is Taylor as Demeter, who is the goddess of the harvest or something along those lines. Her colors are brown, beige, wheat colors, things like that, right? So I gave her more earthy toned clothing, and I also gave her a basket, which is not pictured here, but she had this basket with a bunch of wheat in it. I also gave her like a little satchel. Love that, right? And then Mother Earth, or Gaia, I dressed her in browns and greens, and I gave her a basket with vines and fruit coming out of it. So just drawing inspiration from little things like that, right? And then I really wanted to pay attention to the photography style. That was an element I really wanted to bring in to portray fall, because we actually shot this, I want to say it was in August of last year. So I needed to make it look like fall, but fall really wasn't happening just yet around here. So I tried to pick a location that had very neutral colors. I also shot this shoot with some red rocks in the back, also where it would be like golden hour and sunset lighting, compared to the image on the right of the girl with the tennis racket, which has a lot more blues and greens in the lighting, to kind of portray that fall look on that top left photo. So that's how I kind of came up with that concept. I just started with, okay, I want to do something with the Greek goddesses, but I want it to be different. How can I make this different? Well, I've never seen the Greek goddesses like in the fall time. I always see them pictured in like the springtime, or I see like one singular goddess portrayed in a certain season. So that's kind of how I came up with that concept. Okay. Let's go to the top right photo of Cecilia. She's the one with the tennis racket and the white jumpsuit thingy, like romper or dress. I'm not sure. So how I planned this photo shoot is I was in Denver and I wanted to go thrift shopping. So I went and I found this vintage tennis racket. And at the time I had seen a lot of photo shoots on Instagram that were really trendy, and on TikTok too, of like girls in tennis skirts with like the pullovers. And I thought that was so cute, but it had really been overdone. But I kind of wanted to do something like that, but I wasn't sure how to not make it overdone. So I saw this tennis racket and I'm like, oh, this could be cool. I could do like a tennis shoot that's more like high fashion or editorial looking, that maybe has some vintage elements to it, because I really like kind of vintage or retro elements. So that's kind of where I thought of this shoot. And then a few months later, Cecilia asked me what I wanted to shoot that month, and I suggested that we plan something around this tennis racket. So we put her in something a little bit more high fashion than just like a tennis skirt, which was like this really deep V dress. And she wore sneakers with it, which I thought was such a cute combo. And we shot when it was a little bit brighter out to kind of give some more of those like vintage vibes with the blues and greens in the background and stuff like that. So the concept for that came from the actual tennis racket itself when I saw it in the thrift store. Okay, bottom left with T. Lee, she's wearing the denim jumpsuit and the bandana around her neck, and she's holding a Coca-Cola bottle. So this concept actually was inspired by a set of images I saw, and she was in like a gas station or a Quick Mart. The model was, and it was more like retro. Like the Quick Mart was very retro, and those fridges where they have all the drinks, they were like super retro with like gold trim and neon lights and stuff like that. It was just awesome, right? Well, we don't have any like Quick Marts like that around here. So I loved that look, and I loved kind of like it gave me very like just retro vintage vibes, like almost 80s or 70s look. She was also wearing like a jumpsuit and a bandana, which I thought was so cute. So since we don't have any Quick Marts around here, I was like, oh, why don't we find a vending machine that could be fun, like summer vintage vibes in front of a vending machine. Well, me and Ethan drove around for like hours just to realize there's no vending machines in our area because of the snow. So I thought, well, how can we still get that summer vintage look? And I thought of the pool. So we shot this outside of the pool when it was real bright out, like right before golden hour. I was able to find the denim jumpsuit, which I didn't plan on finding that. I just randomly found it, and it was so cute. We did the bandana, and I got the glass Coke bottle instead of having a vending machine because I thought it added a cute element that made it look a little bit more vintage and retro. And I just love how this came out. I really wanted to be like summery, so I made sure it was bright sunlight and it was more golden looking, like that, like she was, at the pool or walking by the pool on a hot summer day, Okay, and lastly, the picture to the bottom right of Bridge with the pink and blue. This image or this shoot was inspired by a TikTok that Bridge saw. So when this happened, I want to say this was like January or February of this year. And it was really trendy on TikTok to do like a two-toned photo shoot like this. And they sell these like LED lights, I think, for them. And so she really wanted to do something like that. However, I didn't really want to purchase new lights just for a photo shoot. So I actually ended up making my own colored lights, which was funny, but it was inspired by TikTok. And we did, I wanted to do like contrasting colors, so they really stood out. So we did pink and blue, and I love the way it turned out. But that's where I drew these concepts from. One is Greek goddess, like mythology. The second one is an actual physical object. The third one was a set of images I saw on Pinterest. Excuse me. And the fourth one was a TikTok. So you can find inspiration from anything, okay? So now that you have kind of an idea or a concept or an element, you need to brainstorm your concept a little bit more. Okay, so think about what elements you want to include in your photo shoot from your inspiration or your concept idea so you can actually create a plan for that concept. So for example, if we're going back to that summer vibe shoot I did with Taylor, right? I knew I wanted to incorporate something summery. I wanted to incorporate summery lighting. I wanted to incorporate a more retro outfit like the denim jumpsuit. I wanted to incorporate soda because I thought that was very like retro and give me like summer vibes. So think about the elements like that you want to include in your photo shoot concept, okay? This is really important to actually narrow down what you want to do. If like, because you might draw inspiration and not be able to actually do exactly, you know, from that image or whatever, the exact details. So you need to brainstorm it and narrow it down to what exactly the elements are that you want to use. Do you want to change them? Do you want to draw more inspiration from them? Do you want to narrow them down more? Do you want to add to them? Whatever it is, you just need to brainstorm a little bit more and come up with a clear, concise image. A lot of times when I am in the brainstorming phase, you guys, if you guys have planned to shoot with me, you guys might have seen this before. I almost just kicked over my light. Sometimes I'll be like, do you like any of these like images or any of these inspo pictures? They're just kind of random pictures I have saved. And maybe they'll say, yes, I like these ones. And I'll kind of look at those photos and see what I can pull from them. So a shoot I recently did, actually, I can show you guys the photo. This is a great example of how we did this last shoot. But I don't have the photos ready yet, so can't show you that. Okay. So I sent her this series of images, and basically, if you can see, it's like a girl sitting, you know, in the desert with a blue chair, and she's wearing like basics. Here's another one of it. Okay. So I really liked the vibe of those photos. I also really liked these like up close kind of beauty shots with the like golden hour sunlight. And then I also really love this shot of Casey Musgraves from her new movie with the glitter rhinestone eyebrows. And this was like blue hour. Okay. And she loved all of those. So what I did was I put together some of those images. I created a color scheme and I decided, okay, well, we can do the rhinestone eyebrows. This is the mood board I came up with based on that, if you can see it. And then the photo shoot itself, I think I have a video from it. We ended up doing like basics, like she had a wife beater, bell bottoms, and the rhinestone eyebrows. So going through those images was me brainstorming that concept, for example, okay? After you've brainstormed your concept and you have a clear idea of what your concept is, now is the time to think about storytelling. Now, storytelling is a very, very important part of any photo shoot concept. Telling a story through your concept, through posing, color schemes, like your shots, angles, everything like that is a craft that takes a lot of practice to perfect. So it's something that you need to start now to start practicing. So how can you practice storytelling? I have a few tips for you. Number one is think about the color schemes. So what kind of colors convey the kinds of emotions you want in your story? So for example, The color blue, like the chair behind me, is can represent or convey a more emotional type of emotion, like sadness, loneliness, emptiness, things like that. Where red can represent power, control, things of that nature, right? So think about the color scheme. You can, I don't know the site off the top of my head, but if you just type in like color scheme maker, there's a free online color scheme thing, and it's so awesome. I love it. You just press the space bar until you see colors you like, and then you can lock the ones you like and keep going until you have a color scheme. Then you can save it, and that's how I do it. I love it. But think about color schemes. That tells a story, and you can convey that color schemes throughout, lighting of the actual shots, like sunrise versus sunset, blue hour versus golden hour, broad daylight, things like that, in the shade versus in the sunlight, facing the sun versus being backlit, things like that. You can convey that in your wardrobe colors, in your makeup colors, anything like that, right? Next is think about your posing, okay? What kind of poses convey what types of emotions or tell a story, right? If you are telling a story that's more rigid and hard, your poses might be more hard and stiff and angular versus a story that shows more fluidity. You want to have more graceful and flowing poses, big elongated poses, things like that, right? Think about creating a shot list. Think about, the angles that the photographer will take the photos at. Pointing down on a model with a camera makes the model look more innocent and young and youthful or weak even, while shooting upward towards a model makes them look more powerful, like they're in a position of power, they're over you, they're control, things like that, right? And then think about the details, of course. Makeup, hair, jewelry, things like that. How can you tell a story with all of those things combined, okay? So now that we have our idea, we've brainstormed, and now we can properly tell some kind of story. Let's make our mood board. This is like almost our final step into having your full concept created, okay? So you can call them a mood board or a planning board. The difference of those to me is a mood board is purely just inspiration, and a mood board, like vibey kind of thing, while a planning board will actually detail, the details of hair, makeup, wardrobe outfit, or wardrobe location, might have comments and things like that, okay? That's just how I differentiate them, but you can, do it however you want. There's no kind of standard to this. I really recommend using Milano or Canva to create your board. Those are two really great resources to create a space where you can put everything down. And I'm going to show you right now some examples from both. So this first slide is 4 mood boards that I made on Milano. Milano is great because it's kind of like you can just drag and drop from Pinterest without saving the images on your computer, which I like because I don't like to save a bunch of images, but sometimes I like to put a bunch of images. And you can also add notes, links, everything like that, okay? So the top left one is a kind of dark, mysterious, this was for a Hansel and Gretel photo shoot. Am I saying that right? Hansel and Gretel, yeah. Photo shoot I did, dark, mysterious, in the forest. I really wanted to convey that sense of being lost and being scared and being like empty and things like that, okay? And kind of like abandoned. So you can tell the color scheme is dark. It's not, golden hour, things like that, right? The one on the top right is a cottagecore submission that I did. I wanted it to be very like back to basics, and I wanted it to kind of display classic kind of femininity with the soft colors and the soft makeup and the soft posing. And I also included some posing ideas on that board because I had multiple models. The bottom left is actually a planning board that I made on Milano, which I just detailed some ideas for wardrobe, makeup, and hair for the models, since they were doing their hair and makeup by themselves. I wanted to kind of show them what I wanted to do and what I was looking for to see if that they could do them. And I wrote out like descriptions of what I wanted and everything like that. So it's a really good visual reference. The bottom right one is a very simple mood board that I made for a shoot I did. And I wanted it to just be simple, classic, kind of a clean, fresh vibe in greenery with a white outfit. So that's kind of what I went with. So you can see the different colors and the different emotions that each of these could convey. So those are the ones I made with Milano. Now this next one is one that I made with Canva, and I actually made a presentation. So it was like 12 slides or something like that, but I'm only showing you 2 of the slides. So just ignore the fact that there's some details missing. Okay. This is one of the slides. This was for my Greek goddess shoot. And I wanted to have some photography styles, to reference back to, because I really wanted a soft, hazy, vintage kind of look with soft feminine colors, neutral makeup, things like that, right? I actually wasn't able to shoot in this style of photography. I got as close as I could for a whole bunch of different reasons, but it was kind of that shoot got a little crazy when it came to the execution, because I didn't have a backup plan, and we needed a backup plan, so that's why execution is very important. But, you know, this is just shows you how in depth you can go into what kind of angles I wanted to get, what kind of editing style I wanted to do, things like that, right? Now, same thing, same presentation mood board that I created for the Greek goddess ones. This is just another slide. This is where I detailed each character with symbolism and colors and things like that for each character. So for Aphrodite, I made a color scheme and I put some reference images of things I really liked. I really liked drawing inspiration from these like classic art pieces. We have the abalone shell, lots of soft lace, things like that. So Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty. Her symbols are the mirror and the seashell. Her sacred plant, one of them is a rose, and then I wrote a little blurb so Grace knew her role as Aphrodite very well as well. Not only could I draw inspiration and see it all put together, but then Grace knew exactly what she was getting herself into. So those are some examples of, you know, what your mood boards could look like. And I really, really, really recommend making concept boards. It's so helpful and it's fun. I really like it. So now that we have our concept, we've brainstormed, we've made a plan for storytelling, we made our mood board, we planned, we just need to add in our final planning details. So make sure you think about your wardrobe, hair, makeup, location, and posing, okay? So make sure your wardrobe fits your theme. It's something that you can get if you have it already, or maybe your photographer has something you can use, or a friend has something you can use. Think about hair and makeup and how it will fit into your concept and what the best look is for your concept. Think about location. If your concept is a beachy theme and we live in Southwest Colorado, you're going to have to think of a creative way to make a beach scene, you know, things like that. And then posing also, which we've talked about. So then once you have all those details together, you should have a clear plan for your next photo shoot. I hope this helped you guys make, you know, some awesome photo shoot concepts. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with for your future shoots. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this training, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.